We are back. We are back. We are back with another edition of the 5-Star Grand Prix 2024 review series here on my YouTube channel. Yes, I am Scott Edwards, and I am here for day 9 of the 5-Star Grand Prix review. I am very excited to talk about this. I'm doing this directly after the show, so my thoughts are as fresh as a daisy, but I am tired, so it's a fun trade-off. But I wanted to make sure I get this one out in time while the first one, came up pretty late, all things considered. As I like to usually do with these schedules, but it's fine. Blue Stars block here with such a big Sunday show coming up with 12 matches, the final day of block action. I wanted to make sure I got this up as early as humanly possible. I'm going to give you all the Blue Star scenarios heading into that final day. We're going to lock it up, get it all done. So hopefully, if you have tuned in each and every time, I appreciate it. And I once again ask you to press that like button. Helps with the algorithm, gives us a little boost. And I also would like you to leave a comment. Let me know how you feel about the Blue Star side of things and today's show, the main event, and ultimately who it's breaking down towards as we head into that final day. Who do you want to see in the quarterfinals of the 5-Star Grand Prix? I have my picks. I think everyone has their picks by now, but I'd love to hear what you think. So make sure you leave a comment. And of course, if you haven't, please press that subscribe button. We've been able to build up some viewers, and we continue to move forward here. It's been a lot of fun. This is what I'm doing it for. I'm doing it for fun after all. And that's why we're going right back at it next time for another tournament with the Marigold tournament. So we're going to keep rolling forward here. But let's get to this day. Of course, day 9, like I said, Suzu Suzuki and Saia Kamitani in your main event of the evening. Obviously, one of, if not the biggest matches of the entire block. So, really looking forward to talking about that one. I thought it was a very important match for both of them. But let's start it off early. We had Hanan versus Ranna Yagami in Blue Stars B action. This match was really solid. It wasn't long. It was about 6 minutes in time, but it gave us exactly what I think you wanted from someone like a Ronnie Yagami, who has continued to make strides in this tournament against the best of the best. And Hanan continues to bring it. We've watched Hanan unfortunately kind of take a step back since that Cinderella tournament and that great match against Syuri at uh, All Star Grand Queendom, but she continues to put on such great efforts, and this was one of them. And this was all to build to the ultimate upset that was Rana Yagami, winning with her new roll up pin and pinning Hanan to leave Hanan in a deficit heading into the final day. Hanan is a must win scenario as we head into that final day. She has the very difficult task of facing one Saya Kamitani, while Suzu Suzuki also heads into that final day. But we'll go over the scenarios later on. Rana Yagami was able to avoid getting, Hanan went for the backdrop driver, and Rana Yagami was able to reverse that and ultimately get that new roll up on her for the big time shock win. Rana Yagami did this in front of Ami Sarai. Ami Sarai was in the building. Obviously, Yagami taking the spot of Sarai, and Sarai is Hanan's big time rival. So that was a pretty cool spot to see in this match, and a cool moment for Yagami, who, like I said, continues to make the strides that are necessary, especially for someone that is still a rookie in this business. It's exactly what you want to see. So this was a solid start to the show. I think it was the right start to the show. Next up, we had Koguma versus Anna Jay. I don't think this match really did anything to make you feel one way or the other about Anna Jay's tournament. I think it was fine. I didn't expect Koguma to be her strongest opponent. It was probably, when you look at that block, the likelihood of the weakest, but they didn't do too much comedy. They did the usual Koguma stuff. Anna Jay was teasing the bear pose before kicking her in the gut. Koguma gets her down into the she gets her down and does it to her anyways on the ground, and it was pretty much whatever. It was Anna Jay mostly in control. The match itself was, again, it was passable. Nothing nothing to the point where you're gonna walk away and say, "Wow, that was great," but you're not gonna walk away and say, "Wow, that was terrible." It was just kind of there. It fit exactly the billing I expected. Anna Jay doesn't have a shot at winning this tournament. Um, Koguma obviously doesn't either. So Koguma's there heading into that last day with a potential upset alert, but otherwise it was about as I expected. Um, and I really don't have much more to give you. Anna Jay continues to build up. She's got 3 wins in the tournament. She's all done. This was her final match. She went 3-3 with 6 points. I believe the only way she could get in is like maybe a miracle, but I don't think there's any way, shape, or form because Starlight Kid, Syuri, both of them are heading into the final day with a chance to get in. Yeah, Anna Jay's officially eliminated. Sorry, we didn't get to the Syuri match yet, but she is officially eliminated. And I think she was already eliminated heading into this final day, as is. So take that for what you will. Yeah, because once Starlight Kid beat her, it was like whatever. Anyways, we move on. That brings us to Starlight Kid versus Miyu Amasaki, a match I was very much looking forward to. Obviously, they had this singles match a few months ago when Amasaki was making her decision. Did she want to join Neo Genesis? And I thought that match at the time was really, really good. And these two had another really, really good match. This was the Miyu Amasaki performance I was waiting for in this tournament. It was the performance that I think when you watch Amasaki, you get excited for what her potential can be because she's a scrappy underdog who I think hits a lot of exciting offense that isn't too flashy, but it makes you believe almost, if that makes sense. And I think that's something Starlight Kid does similar. And Starlight Kid was doing great work in this match, attacking the leg, of course, that has been her go-to in this tournament. But Amasaki hit a brutal impaler DDT from the top rope that really sent this match into a different world. Starlight Kid was clutching at her neck for the remainder of that match, and that really was the story. And this story was, it was similar to that of, say, Natsupoi Shuri from last year at a much lesser sense, but it was about Amasaki proving herself to Starlight Kid, right? The first time they faced Amasaki didn't have the answers and she fell in that match. This time around, with more confidence, she's going in there with Starlight Kid and trying to show I can hang with you. I can hang with the top dog of Neo Genesis. I may not win, but I can last. And that's what she did. They made it to a 15-minute time limit draw. Like I said, easily the best performance for Amasaki in this tournament, and another great performance for Starlight Kid. Starlight Kid has been spectacular in this tournament, considering the block she's in and considering all things. Blue Stars A has been the second best block, and she has been the best performer in that block for my money. And I think that kind of should say everything you need to know in terms of these two and going out there, right? They're two baby faces and people love them, and they were able to put on a show. So this match was a win in my book. The 15 minutes, it was asking a lot from Amasaki, but I thought she did a good job. The early going was a little slow, so that's probably where I take anything away from it. But otherwise, the second half was great. I really did enjoy the second half. So I think if you are looking to see Amasaki's best in this tournament, this is the one you go out of your way to check out. Like I said, 15-minute time limit draw here. Keeping Starlight Kid in the running and getting Amasaki a much needed point. So that was cool for her. And then we had Risa Sera versus Tekla. This match was not really a match. It was kind of funny. Like you don't have a moment here where it's like full on wrestling. It felt like you go to the outside because Tekla attacks Sera before the bell. This is Ice Ribbon lore for anyone that is interested. These are two former Ice Ribbon competitors. But they attack outside, they do the chair thing, and then Tekla's just like throwing chairs at Risa Sera, which I found pretty funny. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I found it very funny, but like there was not much to this match itself. It wasn't really a match to begin with. Um, it was just about that, and ultimately in the end, like, frankly, Risa Sera got disqualified using the Oedo tie chair on Tekla, and she kept fighting off hate after that. Like, that was the best part of the match. Otherwise, this match was really whatever. I do think it was entertaining for what it was, but it wasn't much. It was barely a match, it felt like at times. I think it lacked, kind of, the beauty of the 5 star, and, I think that could be said for these 2 from start to finish. The match lasted 7 minutes and 44 seconds, a lot of it was done the outside, and a DQ finish is a sour taste in anyone's mouth, I think. I don't think anyone looks forward to a DQ finish, I certainly don't, and that's kinda my takeaway from this match. It's about as I expected, if not under, I guess, but it's just the tale of the tournament for both of these competitors. Now we're talking. We had Syuri versus Xena. This is a match that I circled heading into this tournament, right? Xena has been putting on such incredible performances. She has gotten to the point where she is considered a great wrestler, and she is one of the people I look forward to in Stardom, right? It started with that Micah match. You go out there and prove it, right? For the world title, has the match of her career, the performance of her career, and now she's going against Syuri, the final opponent of her first trip with Stardom, right? Her first run with Stardom last year. That was her final opponent, and she showed something. And I remember when that match was over, and a lot of people were like, okay, if Xena ever comes back, there's something there to appreciate. There's something there for her to build on. And when she steps back into the ring, of course, this year, she has been showing that to an extreme. She has really, really developed into such a great wrestler. She has a certain amount of explosiveness mixed with a hard physical style that I think really fits in with the Joshi and the roster as a whole. And when you go in there with Syuri, you have to bring all that. And I think she did. Like, her explosives jumped off the page in this match. It looked like she had hurt her arm at one point in the match, but she kept fighting through. Obviously, the same goes for Syuri. This was the Syuri performance you look forward to in the 5 star Grand Prix, where she just goes out there with someone and they trade blows back and forth. They traded forearms back and forth. Then Xena brought out the chops, which were loud and painful, and Syuri answered those with some devastating kicks, as you would hope. These two squared off back and forth. Xena looked like she was closing in on the win, but Syuri ultimately got the victory with the Ryuan to walk away with the win and keep herself alive heading into the final day of the 5 star Grand Prix. The loss for Xena ultimately eliminates her from the tournament, bringing her to just 4 points, but she will enter the last night with an opportunity to play spoiler for Starlight Kid. So a big time match there, and very much possible that that is exactly what happens. But we'll have to take a look at that later on. This was a great match, the match of the show. Very much worth going out of your way to see. One of the best from the Blue Star side of things. And then we had our main event, Suzu Suzuki versus Saya Kamitani. You know how I felt about these two in this tournament. There has been a lot of a lot of underperforming moments for both of them. I know what these two have been capable of, and I've seen these two have a great match. You look at the 5 star Grand Prix 2022, they put on a show and they gave us a taste of what they could have potentially done at that time. 2 years is a lot of time for these two. They are not the same wrestlers. I talked about this, right? Sure, Suzu is not the same wrestler, and it's not for the better. And obviously, she had injuries, and she's fighting back. And she's been rusty, I think, and she just doesn't feel like Suzu. And then Saya, obviously, Saya is working through this heel gimmick. She has not figured it out. So what is my feeling heading to this match? I still have hope because I know that these two have chemistry that I feel like can break through the overall problems that they're dealing with in terms of identity and character. They can break through and have at least a strong match. And ultimately, that's what they did, in my opinion. It was a strong main event. I think it was easily the best of Blue Stars B. I won't go as far in saying it was great. I think it still lacks. I still think Suzu is missing that power, that aura about her that kind of brought her matches up. But mechanically, this was good by her. She had, good suplexes in this match, solid forearms. And Saya, I mean, Saya had a really good showing here. Lots of good offense. She just kind of brought the Golden Phoenix offense to the game here. But there are the points where she does try to fall back into character that I do think takes away from the overall match, right? She's sometimes just standing there and making these faces, and it kind of takes me out of the match once in a while because it's like, okay, I get like you're trying to be a heel, but like it's kind of goofy some of the faces she makes, and it's hard for her to be a heel because, like I said, and I've been saying she's a natural baby face. She feels probably the need to try extra hard with the faces and things like that, and I don't think she needs to. But I'm not really sure what she needs to do. What I do know though is that I think that this match is the much needed progress for both of them. I'm hoping that they can take this match and head into that final day and the quarterfinals and so on, and build from it. Ultimately, Saya Kamitani is going to the quarterfinals. She hit a spinning star crusher to get to the victory and pin Suzu Suzuki in the middle of the ring, leaving us to a major um, final day for this block. We will go over all that. But Saya Kamitani joins Micah as the first two wrestlers to qualify for the qualifiers, or the quarterfinals, I should say. So that's big news. But let's quickly look at the ratings here, as I often do, and then we'll go over scenarios before we wrap up today's video. So Sayori Ano, obviously, was off today. She was in Sendai Girls, defending the Sendai Girls World Championship against Dash Chisako, getting a successful win there. The MVPs aren't really shocking. It comes down to Starlight Kid number 1 in Blue Stars A, followed by Syuri Ano, followed by Xena, followed by Syuri. I don't think that really shocks anyone. It's exactly what I expected. Koguma, Anna J, and Miyu Amasaki, obviously the bottom 3 in that. But I think those 3 have really pushed, or those 4 have really pushed this tournament forward. Sayori's been good. Starlight Kid's been great. Zena's been really, really good, and Shuri's been good as well. And we headed to a final day that I think should bring that all up. And we look at the Blue Stars B block. While I do have my problems, obviously, with Suzu and her overall performances, she is on her way to a potential 3 in this tournament as she heads into the final day. That tough loss to Saya Kamitani leaves her potentially, she's still in the running for the tournament, but it's on the brink of potentially being eliminated. But she is the MVP so far of the Blue Stars B block at a 2.90, which again I wouldn't say is amazing. But that also Ranna Yagami second with a 2.55. She just had very solid matches up and down. Kamitani and Hanan both at 2.45 as your third and fourth tied in the MVP race for that block. So those are your match ratings. We'll have kind of a better look at who has the potential to walk away with MVP and MVPs of the block once it's all said and done. But you kind of have an idea. I think the Blue Stars block is wide open in terms of who can be MVP, while the other blocks are a little bit more clear as who's on their way, depending on the tournament, of course. But let's head back over to this so we can go over the scenario. So here are your scenarios. Looking at Blue Stars A first. So Ano advances officially with a win or draw or a Syuri loss. So Sayori currently sits at um, 7 points. She if a Syuri loss happens or a Syuri draw happens, she's fine. Syuri's at 6. If they tie, Sayori's in because Sayori did beat Syuri in the tournament, so that's very important. If they end up having 7 points, Sayori is going to be in. In terms of Starlight Kid, she needs to she advances with a win and a Syuri loss. Very important for her. She currently sits at 6 points, so she's obviously tied with Syuri. But she does need that loss. She does not have the advantage after Syuri beat her. So that's very important heading into the final day. There is a potential for a playoff. Starlight Kid and Syuri and Ano could have a playoff if Syuri wins, Sayori loses, and SLK wins. As SLK and Sayori went to a draw, Syuri with a win would move on to 8 points and qualify, while those two would be stuck at 7, having to fight it out for the final spot. And then Syuri advances with a win. Um, she advances with a win or an SLK loss. That's very important. So that's the Blue Stars A scenarios. And then we look at Blue Stars B. Suzu Suzuki advances with a win and a Hanan loss. Hanan advances with a win and a Suzu Suzuki loss. And Risa Sera advances with a Suzu Suzuki loss or draw, as well as a Hanan loss. So it's winning you're in for both Suzu and Hanan. Um, it's winning you're in, but they need help. They need help. They both have a draw. Potential playoff is in the mix if they end up tying with points at the end of the night. I believe Risa Sera can get in. Risa Sera is done with the tournament. With both Hana and Suzu sitting at 5, it makes it for an interesting night heading into that final tournament. I'll tell you what, Suzu or Hanan's getting in. Let's look at the final schedule here real quick. I think that's very important to kind of get a grasp of what we're probably thinking. So obviously the Red Stars block will also be performing tomorrow. Went over that in the last video, day 8. If you want to hear that, that's up now over on the channel. So go check that out. But it's very simple. Suzu Suzuki's got Ranna Yagami. Suzu Suzuki is in the driver's seat to advance in this tournament, despite the loss to Saia Kamitani. A win gives her a good chance as Saia Kamitani faces Hanan. Hanan needs to overcome the block leader to get into the tournament. It's asking for a lot. Meanwhile, Zena could play spoiler for Starlight Kid, but Koguma could also play spoiler for Sayori Ano. Kind of sounds like it's very possible. Right now, I do think that Syuri and Starlight Kid are in a good spot. I really do. I think Koguma upsets Sayori Ano. Syuri beats Miyu Amasaki, and I think Starlight Kid overcomes Xena to get in. I think it would be really wrong if you just do Syuri and Sayori Ano. I think Sayori Ano is okay to miss this tournament or miss the quarterfinals. I think it is perfectly fine. I think Koguma is the perfect final day upset. And I also think that Syuri and Starlight Kid make a lot of sense for the hate story and Natsuko being champion. So I think you want to build towards that. Um, but those are your scenarios. That is your final day schedule. We have a lot to cover. I'll be back on Sunday sometime. I don't know when the recording is going to go up, but probably sometime in the morning. I'll be talking all 12 matches from day 10 of the tournament. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I ask you to, again, press like, leave your comments on what your thoughts are. Who do you think is going to advance? And please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And I thank you all for listening. And I'll be back next time with another 5-star Grand Prix 2024 review. Until next time, see ya.